landlords and property managers from hell? Absolutely.
Across the board, you could honestly say renters are treated basically as second-class citizens.
If you didn't see it, you wouldn't believe it. These photos graphically showing what some renters are putting up with. Promised one thing, but given this. And it's a massive nationwide problem.
I would estimate across the country we're probably looking at over 100,000 issues every year that aren't being exposed.
But shonky landlords and property managers, be warned. A website is now naming and shaming. Don't Rent Me, exposing the landlords and rental properties from hell.
Maybe the most shocking things are around landlords accessing the property, sometimes late at night while the tenants are asleep. They let themselves in with their own key and stand over the bed. So one tenant woke up to find their landlord standing over the bed, which was pretty bizarre.
Don't Rent Me is the brainchild of Anthony Ziebel, who's outed more than 1,000 properties with problems, like this.
You expect mould in a laundry, you expect it in a bathroom, but in a dining room?
Yeah, well, that's really unfair to the tenant here. The landlord hasn't repaired this issue, which is clearly coming from the ceiling somehow.
The tenants here are paying $730 a week for a house with mould on the ceilings and a ducted air conditioning system that doesn't work.
The property was actually advertised as having ducted air conditioning throughout. As it turns out, the air conditioning unit is a single fan unit, which is far too small for the size of this two-storey home. What that means is a single room at a time can only be cooled or heated, and the landlord has said, too bad.
I was under the impression, going by the description, I was getting a 2-bedroom with a sleep out or a sunroom, but that has not happened.
Long-time renter Dawn Stancer was also fooled by an advertisement promising more than she had delivered. Now she and her 8-year-old daughter are forced to share one room.
We don't have access to one of the bedrooms that I'm actually paying for. She said the owner's put a padlock on it.
There's no wardrobe space, no storage for Dawn's valuables.
We've got all this stuff here that we can't even put away because the landlord's got her stuff in the shed and I've got nowhere to store it all, and there's valuable stuff here that is irreplaceable.
All of this for $350 a week. So now Dawn's going to court because the landlady refuses to fix anything.
Well, I'd go so far as to say that 90% of people who rent properties are not satisfied with the treatment they get by the landlord or the agent. 90%.
Former real estate agent turned consumer advocate Neil Genman believes tenants are simply getting robbed.
I've often told people if you have something go wrong with the property and it's not fixed, then don't be like a meek little lamb and keep paying the rent. Just have a rent strike and say, I'm not paying the rent until such time as you fix up this property.
Every year, thousands of terrible tenants leave behind damage bills costing tens of millions of dollars. Junk left behind, properties smashed and vandalised. But these tenants end up on a blacklist. Not so the landlords.
If the tenant does the slightest thing wrong, the agent and the landlord jump on them really fast. But if the landlord or the agent does heaps of things wrong, the tenant still keeps paying and keeps paying.
So far, Don't Rent Me has seen dozens of cases peacefully resolved, but tenants like Dawn are still battling a system that favours the landlords.
People need to realise that these companies and these people don't have the right to walk over you.
They're the ones being ripped off and being left to their own devices. And then quite often when they do repair these issues, the landlord then attacks them for it. It's just unbelievable.